Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever recording of Grand Arena, my first ever recording or video of anything for that matter. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but just have not been able to, and I'm finding the time now. I want to do my Grand Arenings for posterity, for um, educational purposes, for people that want to just a different perspective on it. I'm a mostly free-to-player. I did unlock Revan and Malik for minimal cost. I believe I spent $50 on some shards to get Revan ready and up in time, and I spent nothing on Malik because I found great value in Mission and Zelbar combination, and already had their team well over the minimum required power levels. So I just recently, just before the failed first exhibition, got my Malik up to 7-star gear 12, so we're ready to go. We got pretty well focused roster. I've been really focused on Squad Arena up until when Grand Arena came out, and because I don't have a wide variety of characters, because I'm free to play and mostly free to play and it requires me to farm, um, I focused on characters that were good in Squad Arena, and so it's paid off in Grand Arena, and I just love the Grand Arena game mode. It's by far my favorite mode in this game, and the thing that I enjoy and now have focused pretty much my entire account on doing. Now, it's not to say that I've perfected it by any means. I'm still at, as you can see, low galactic power. I'm in Division 4 for Grand Arena. And interestingly, all of my competition in this Grand Arena is at very least in Division 3. There's a single other Division 4 opponent out here, and there is actually, let me see if I can find him here, there you are, one Division 2 character with 1 million GP above my own. Actually, he's not much of a threat. I'm honestly not too worried about him. His roster, I won't say it's bad, it's just not going to cut it against mine for Grand Arena. It's everything purple, little Zetas, everything 85, and I mean just everything. So it's a fantastic, territory battles, getting that, high GP. It's just not focused enough for Grand Arena or Grand Arena Championships now in that case. But there is some other competition here that's pretty intense. I think I have the edge on all of them. There's a few that have some higher mods than me. In fact, my challenge today could be interesting. My last one was a full clear for me. I put my Revan and Night Sisters on defense. Jedi Revan, that is. Night Sisters fell right away, but Revan held for 2 battles, and then I put Darth Revan, and I go for a Chewbacca, Clone Wars Chewbacca lead scoundrel team for a triple taunting tank threat, and that just stalemated my opponent. After 2 battles, not a single of my characters was even had a dent of their protection gone, and then the 3rd battle he took out Clone Wars Chewbacca, and it was game set match at that point, and I had no problem. I believe one-shotting all of his territories. Yeah. And so, with having said that, we're gonna move into looking at what my opponents set and whether they've done anything, and it looks like they have not attacked yet. And they put their Jedi Revan on defense. I wasn't expecting that. He actually has a really fast Yoda, faster than my Darkside Bastila, and so I thought for sure he was gonna probably successfully counter my Darth Revan team with his Jedi Revan, but it looks like he held it on defense, and that may actually stalemate me early on, but I don't think he's left anything left for offense, so I don't see any way for him to clear out my zones, even get past the first wall. I'll give you a quick look at the kind of squads that I try to build here for my Grand Arena. So I've split up the typical Jedi Knight Revan because I have a fair amount of Jedi decently built up, and I've spread it amongst more teams as opposed to one really beefy team. I've decided to break up the top three here. So as you can see, I've got, instead of your General Kenobi, I've moved him down into the Padme squad, and in place of Bastila, because she's got a great leadership. So I've got Old Ben slotted in place of Kenobi, and Hermit Yoda in for Bastila. And then Bastila allows these even, Gear 11 lesser Jedi to be far more survivable and hit pretty hard, so that makes for a decent offensive team. I have yet to place it on defense, but it would be okay. I'm running light on Jedi tanks, so as you can see, I had to put Kanan in as a tank. Phoenix are pretty weak in all aspects, offense and defense right now. One Wampa can just give your opponent easy win, extra banners, and so I've decided, even though I've Zeta'd, I believe, all of my Phoenix except for Chopper, I've decided to forego using Phoenix for a while now in Grand Arena and Grand Arena Championship. So I've got a pretty good Padme team. I wasn't able to get beyond 5 stars, you can see, so I'm limited to Gear 11, but everything else is there except the Zeta on Anakin. I don't have the power behind that team to take down a Malik and Revan comp anyway on offense using the slow Padme counter, so I didn't see a lot of value in putting that Zeta on Jedi Knight Anakin. Now, just earlier today, I did a fight of my Padme, my first ever test against a Jedi Revan, and it didn't go as I had hoped. I thought I had everything in place where I should be able to squeak by a win, and it wasn't there. So I may still consider putting that Zeta on him down the road. I'm not sure how effective that would be in helping me take down the Jedi Revan teams. That extra turn from Padme may make the difference, it may not. And then I've got my Rebels now. Again, like I said, I'm running light on tanks, so since I took Old Ben into the Jedi Revan squad, I had to pull Scarif Rebel Pathfinder into... I had to pull Scarif Rebel Pathfinder into my CLS team. I didn't get my Chewie to 7-star. I don't have Bounty Hunters developed anywhere near enough to be able to go any farther with that as of right now. And then I just put Fulcrum in the last spot because I'm pulling R2 into the Padme team, and I don't have 3PO because my Ewoks are not built either. And then I don't have Sith Trooper ready to go yet, so I've got Shore Trooper in his place. It looks underwhelming being 4-star, but it is Gear 11 and a fair amount of protection and health, and it's mostly just there for the pre-taunt. Heal and crit immunity is okay, I mean. And then I've got Traya ready to go. I don't have Palpatine lead ever built up. I didn't put any Zetas into that, so he just kind of fills in that spot. But I take him out against, like, say if I'm going against a strong Night Sister, because I don't want to give him a squishy target to kill and then get a maybe Tells and lead revive off of that. so I'll take him out under certain compositions against certain opponents. Same with Thrawn. And then I briefly discussed my Clone Wars Chewie team. Like I said, I like using Clone Wars in lead and the Scoundrel. It's got its positives and its negatives as compared to a Kira lead. The Kira lead provides a lot more depth in the leadership, giving the crit reduction for the tanks, giving all the bonuses, giving the crit percent up, giving the protection regen based off crit. You'd think all that would lean me towards the Kira, but the reason why this one I think helps me more, one, it allows my Kira to still be under nest offensively, to take down those weak Ewok teams or what have you. But the Clone Wars Chewie gives me another taunter, so that's 3 taunters that you have to deal with, and it also is a more steady source of a buff for Vandor Chewie, as all of Vandor's Chewie's benefits require him to have a buff. And he gives himself 1 buff, but he has a 100% counter chance, and as soon as he's hit, because he gives himself advantage, he removes his own buff. And so he relies on somebody else passing him a buff. Now I believe it's L337 can pass him tenacity, and he can give himself protection up with his special. But Clone Wars Chewie lead, 1, gives the entire team 50 defense, not much. Really, it doesn't amount to hardly anything. But the 50% chance to gain defense up for 3 turns when damaged. You hit the team with an AoE, and the buffs just end up all over, and then that's also defense up. Well, there's 50% defense up as opposed to just plus 50 flat. The 50% makes a difference. Now my Clone Wars Chewie is not not Gear 11, not max 7-star even, so he tends to be the one to fall, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. It's Clone Wars Chewie. He's there to hold the team together and to throw the opponent off. Make them look at the lead and go, look at that, a purple Clone Wars Chewbacca lead, and they throw less into it than they need to, because everybody else on that team is really well modded. I love Mission Zalbar combination. Like I said, it frees up Nest for something else, and they're just a great duo. Zalbar, I wish I could have Zalbar in every single one of my teams. The auto taunt at any teammate going under full health I find just to be almost overpowered. Of course, things like buff immunity can, counter that, or just good old removal of buffs. But I have my Vandor Chewie set up for as little protection and as high health as possible, which is how you want him, so that he's giving himself prepared very quickly and very easily, and then just auto-reviving everybody on the team. Because I'm pulling Zalbar and Mission out of the Karth team, my Karth team's pretty weak, and I generally don't set it on defense, because it falls apart very quickly without Mission and Zalbar in there. But it's more there just because Wampa feels a little bit heavier off those dots, and I can throw even Rex into that last spot, or even Sidious, because he's got an AoE that throws dots out there, the heal immunity, plus the expose, which if a target's exposed and Wampa hits with a basic, it converts into a stun as well. Got your standard Ray, which is kept for offense. Talzin, which I use my Night Sisters 50-50 offense defense, depending on how my opponent's troopers are built up, because I'm not gear 12 across the board, as you can tell on all my teams. This keeps my GP down, because the stars is worth way more GP and bumps your GP up high, as opposed to gear. So keeping them at lower stars and just getting their gear to gear 11, one, lets your opponent kind of underestimate you, because they just kind of take a quick glance and go, oh, it's purple, it's weak, I got this. And in some cases that might be true, and then in other cases they might throw too little against it and it trips them up. First order lately I've been keeping for offense sometimes. I find the irresistible two-turn stun from Kylo Ren Unmasked to be a very powerful mechanic against certain teams. As you can see, I don't have Fox in this composition because I don't have Fox built up. And I didn't really farm Kylo Ren Unmasked. I just geared him up. And so the team's okay on defense, and it's okay on offense. Not one of my stronger teams. As much as I love Kylo Ren as a character, I built up, the original Kylo Ren. I just haven't got around to Kylo Ren Unmasked. A Rogue One team, which has kind of fallen in favor of anything really. I kind of use it for offense. I used to love this team, but it's kind of fallen to the wayside as a Wampa can take it down. But against the right team, it can squeak me by a win. I'm working on this General Grievous team. I'm not there yet, as you can tell. I'm actually have enough shards to get him to 6-star, but there's no point in bumping up my GP until I've got enough shards to get him to 7-star. And I should be ready for Gear 12 as soon as I have the shards to get him to Gear 12. And my ships... A little side note here, my ships are horrible. Absolutely horrible. I have no key ships. I got the bare minimum to start unlocking Zetas and doing the Zeta challenge and early on, and have really almost done nothing with ships since. So I can't even complete the mission to begin farming the B1 battle droid. I would love to build this team up. I'm just trying to find a way past that obstacle, and I'm nowhere near any powerful ships to be able to clear any of those really late missions on the ships, hard or easy for that matter. So I've just kind of thrown some separatists in there with them, what I've got left. It's not a great team. I'll put it generally in the back wall on defense, and then I've got the Kira nest. And so that leaves me with a fairly good amount of teams, with some really strong ones in there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then an underdog with as a 14th slot. Now I only need to put 6 in the board, so it leaves me a little bit of leeway depending on my opponent. And so I'll look at their roster pretty thoroughly and try and gauge what they're going to do on defense and offense, what they can take my teams down with, and where I can trip them up to see what I should be putting on defense. It's worked really well in the last match. It's worked really well in all the however many Grand Arenas that we did. I only ever lost one, and it was due to my ships being underpowered. And then one other one due to technical issues where I had no ability to access the game due to factors outside of my control. So I was unable to attack for a single Grand Arena. Other than that, I have had a pretty solid streak of wins and some pretty dominant wins. A few close matches here and there, but nothing too crazy. So having said all that, let's go take a look, and we will... I think my opponent must be waiting for me to attack to decide what he's going to do. Either that or he just put everything on defense and didn't leave himself much to attack with. So, yeah, he's got his C-3PO, he's got his rebels, so somewhere in there he's going to be throwing in some attacking. But I'll show you guys, what life is like as a mostly free-to-play, really light Dolphin at most player that's sitting inside the Division 4 bracket, just outside the Division 3, a few 100,000 GP away. I'm sure once I get my Grievous built up, that'll bump me up into the next division. Yeah, my ship's 900,000. I don't even have a million GP into my ships. They are atrocious, but I don't have to worry about that right now. No ships, you know, included in all this. So, like I said, I'm not sure actually what to take against that Revan. I wasn't expecting him to leave it on defense. I figured he would attack me with it. So, I guess I'll go for the bottom zone first, and great counter to Emperor Palpatine is a Bastila lead. Now my Bastila team is pretty weak, just due to the characters that I have around it. So let me see what else I could possibly throw at it. I'm sure Rebels could cut through it pretty quick. Try our Padme there. I think we will do the standard kind of triumvirate against the Night Sisters. 42,000 health on the zombie. What's the speed on the zombie? Zombie's relatively slow. Take a look at the Asajj. Now this is an Asajj lead, so no quirky bonus or revives, just the 2 from zombie, and then of course Daka. 176, that's respectable speed, given all the bonuses, speeds that she's gonna get, you know, due to her kit. And take a quick look at the health on 28,000, so nothing too crazy on the Daka. I think I'll throw something against the Jedi Knight Revan, and I'm sure it's gonna fail. But I want to see if I can plow through that, and then I use whatever's left to try and get through the Night Sisters, or do I just punch through them right now? Well, I've got the power to do so. Just trying to plan my attack strategy here. Let's see what we can do to this team with our pretty weak Bastila lead. That Scion worries me. I don't know if I have the DPS to get through his revive mechanics, but hopefully we can avoid enough of the pains to not have to worry about it. Maybe we'll just Zerg Scion down first and try and be done with him. All the Jedi plus Rebel tags. Palpatine's gonna hurt. He's gonna kill us over time. I don't think we're gonna be able to win this, to be honest. Yeah, we're not putting much of a dent into Scion, just given my first initial attacks here. But we'll give it our best. We'll see what we can do. Ooh. Not sure what all those attacks were about. Don't recall him ever getting more than the standard 2, but I'll take it. Corrupted Battle Meditation. Bastila Shan Fallen, you were my favorite and least favorite character in the game at the same time. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to cut through this with this team. No, lost most of our DPS now. Yeah, that's that. Let the Palpatine train meter go. Oh, that's a gear 13 Palpatine? Or is that just a reddish looking border in my corner of the screen? couldn't have been a 13. I don't think 13 was available for the lock for this Grand Arena. Try on Night Sisters. I think we will leave Thrawn out since he will. Oh no, they don't have a Talzin lead. So the extra deaths won't matter aside from fueling Asajj a little bit more bonus offense, which could hurt us, but I like as I'm saying, I am expecting Thrawn to die in this. Let's see what we can do here. My opponent placed quite a defense, but he doesn't have the depth on his roster now to have much left for his offense, so honestly I'm not too worried about how I do here. Got a fracture on Talzin, try and hold that, stave that plague off a little bit longer to keep Thrawn in the action. I like to down Asajj. I have no idea if that keeps her from fueling her own. When someone is defeated, she gains that extra offense. I'm not sure if that converts into that or not. She actually died from a dot there, so that unfortunately did not trigger a zombie revive, so we're still gonna have a couple of those to deal with. We will get rid of the Daka. Maybe should have done Asajj for that, but I think we'll still be able to manage this fight fine. There's one zombie revive. Go ahead and fracture, lock down zombie. We may be able to keep Thrawn alive through this after all. Get the cooldown increase. Let's go ahead and isolate this Asajj, even though we're going to kill her almost immediately here. I believe the isolate on her will prevent any oh, we don't have a Talzin lead, so she wouldn't have been reviving anyway, but that's okay. Game, set match. Just a matter of finishing this up now. Maybe getting some protection back on Scion if we have the opportunity. We might be able to get Scion and Nihilus through all of this. See what we can do. No, won't be able to get Scion back up. I don't have enough targets, any targets with pain on it. There we go. 2 full protection. Alright. 4 full health. And the first win. First battle wins are always nice. Let's put the pretty standard Ray Jedi training against the bounty hunters. My RJT team is nothing crazy, nothing too special. I struggle a little more than I should against these, to be honest. Let's try and take out Django to first time here. Can't seem to get any stuns to land. Train meter going though, that's 1 down. Now it's their turn. Some No, no foresight. See if we can get an ability block. No ability block either. Could use a... Nope, too late. Could use a heal from Finn, and he's down as well, and that just got him back his Bounty Hunter's Resolve. Not over yet, but it's just looking rough. Yep, execute. Fortunately came just before he got his Bounty Hunter's Resolve. Ooh, good dodge there by BB-8. Keep himself alive for a fraction longer. That's a shame. Not entirely surprised by that, but weaken the team significantly. Bring something in for mop-up. Pull out the first order for mop-up duty. Lock down as much of the team as possible here. Go for the basic to keep the taunt up on Kylo Ren. As long as you keep Bosk on that 2-turn stun, it shouldn't be too big of an issue here. Should have that back around again in time for him to get re-stunned. It gives you healing immunity too, which is nice to keep all that Bosk healing from happening. Let's go for the big hit here. Resisted the stun. See if we can get back around to Kylo Ren's unmasked stun before he gets his turn in. Perfect. My first order don't hit the hardest, they don't have the most health, but this is, you know, Gear 11s versus Gear 12s. A lot of health on that Bosk. But we're chipping away through it. Just Dengar to go. I'll just set auto from here. I don't think he'll be getting another turn anyway. Nope. There we go. Now, what do we use to finish this off with? This is actually more threatening than I originally thought. We should be able to have something in here to get through it. My Padme can get through most anything, as can my rebels, aside from, of course, that Jedi Knight Revan up top there. We may just have to throw rebels into this. Put Karth or nest against whatever's in the backfield and throw Padme into Jedi Knight Revan and see what we can do. They have no way. I mean, I don't see any way of them getting through my front wall on either of them, so we should be able to pull off the win here. First non-full clear win I've had in a while, but that's kind of what happens when your opponent doesn't leave any, puts everything on defense, doesn't leave anything for offense. Let's try reduce the turn meter and prevent Basti from getting that corrupted battle meditation out there. We'll take a fracture. Oh, that's unfortunate that he fractured Clone Wars Chewbacca, but that's the way the tables turn sometimes. Call to action, and let's maybe remove Palpatine here. Oh, Basti healed up a lot there. I should have finished her. Felt like overkill with that big hit, but okay, there we go. Try and get Palpatine out. Yep, for that. Now I get guarded on Fulcrum as opposed to CLS, which is actually fine because she tends to follow up 2 free turns back to back, same as CLS does, so I really don't see much difference in the long run. So I don't mind that she gets guarded as opposed to CLS. And then the big whirl should finish off Thrawn, and now we'll just try and recover any protection and health that we can here, which this team is not so great at doing, but there we go. Let's see what they got hiding behind there. Maybe should have just put rebels in there from the get-go, but I don't think it would have mattered because Basti wouldn't help me anymore against Jedi Knight Revan. So, Ewoks, let's see what kind of, no speed at all. See what kind of health we're looking at here. They look pretty frail. I don't have the high tenacity nest that most people are building. I've considered switching over from my mega speed to a tenacity set, and I probably should. We're going to actually, I think, break something up a little different. I want to try and get an undersized win in here. Yeah, maybe we'll just go with this even without tenacity. And if not, I'll just bring in the Karth team with Wampa and take somebody out of that team and get the undersized on the second battle. And like I said, we'll just roll the dice on that Padme against Jedi Knight Revan, and I don't think it's going to fall in our favor at all, but there's a chance. Okay. Where's Ewok Elder? There we go. Call in the nest assist. Take out the reviver early. Well, they got their taunt out. Nest shouldn't have any problem getting around that. Rex got a little bit beefier with this latest little buff to everybody's protection. Down goes Arkira. I think Logray is our next highest threat because of that daze. I want to try and remove that. They don't really have the pure hitting power to get through Nest anyway. was debating on Nest being my first Gear 13, but I'm kind of leaning towards Grievous, even though I don't have him at Gear 12 yet. And there we go, undersized victory. Cross our fingers here, not expecting much. Love the way that I've got my Ahsoka modded though. I've got to show this a little bit. So I know the crits aren't great when you're going against the Malak, but like I said, this team isn't really, don't have it built to counter the Malak, not with the Gear 11 Padme. And since Ahsoka's getting called into assist all the time, I know the team is mostly built around courage, giving them their damage output, but I thought I'd try my hand at making her hit as hard as I possibly can, and it came out pretty interesting. So she's got plus 91 speed, not bad there, and I gave her a crit damage on the triangle. It's the offense, plus 1000 offense, while still having 85% crit chance. Now she's getting 10% from R2, and I believe it's 10% from her kit, which maxes her out, and then this can actually double there too, but she's maxed out 100% crit chance with the highest offense of any of my characters flat out across the board, nearly 4000 damage. Now that damage tends to scale. I've noticed that it scales for certain characters. It seems to be better than others. For Wampa it scales really well, but maybe that's because he is ramping up offense due to his third ability, his second special there. But her protective maneuver, her Whirlwind Junior, which has now become the more powerful hitting Whirlwind than the Fulcrum version, that can get through characters really well. And they mark Ahsoka first. Like I said, I don't plan on winning this fight, even with all the proper, Zetas and mods in place. It's just not quite there. I don't know if maybe that Anakin Zeta would be the tipping factor for me. If it is, I may just have to look into that more, and I may consider doing that. We'll do the special. We want to hit Kenobi because I don't want to have the taunt with that 100% crit. Now he's going to taunt probably anyway right here, just from the swarm attack. I'm going to see if I can't. Oh no, we won't get any crits there, so I still gets the taunt. And let's see if a Whirlwind can... No, not without the courage, I don't think so, but let's see if... Oh, and one Whirlwind is dodgeable, and he's got Foresight. So we're just going to have to basic Dispel. Which, again, yeah, that's going to bring the taunt back into play. Yeah. I just don't see a way of this team. 12 stacks here. Oh, and the dodge, yeah. Of getting through here. Mark on Ahsoka again. I really want her down. I've got buff immunity on Kenobi now, and we will probably get a kill, ironically, on this, strongest character first. Oh, and it died from the burning damage, so it did not get a revive to full health through Jedi Knight Revan, so he still has the Savior ability ready to bring someone back. I'm going to lose my Fulcrum here. Yep, there she goes. Let's see if we can't. Wow, maybe he didn't have the Zeta on the Savior ability. We might actually be able to get through this team after all. That is just going to be dodged no matter who I shoot it at. Oh, no, it's not. Get rid of your Foresight. Unfortunately, he's going to revive here in a second. find some way to knock Jolie out of this fight. I don't have enough stacks of courage for anybody to be doing courage damage, and there we go, we're back to square one. Oh, so close. That's Anakin, that's the fight. Yeah. We won't get an assist. Let's do that to see if we can't. If we were to start the fight with, say, Karth and Wampa on a second attempt, I'm not sure whether or not he would be able to revive, so I may want to end this here before Jolie can revive. There's always that odd miracle chance that I get some big stacks of courage and unleash him on Jolie, but I just don't see it happening. Not that I expect Wampa to be able to get through this team either. But I think I'm just going to let it time out here. What's the turn meter looking like for Jolie? Padme will get a turn in before he does, so what can we do with that? It's probably a mistake here, because here comes the revive, yep. Oh well, like I said, this should be a win either way right now, so. Ouch. And we'll see if miracles are possible. I see a 0% chance of this working, and nothing left in my roster to make this fight any better for me. Can't land any dots, and a marked on Wampa, just to, you know, put that nail in the already nailed coffin. And that's my first recording of Grand Arena. I attempted to record my first fight, and the recording did not work. But so what does my opponent have left? So we know that they've used Night Sisters, Palpatine, he's used up his bounty hunters, he's used up his Ewoks, his Jedi Knight Revan. So if he went all out, it's possible that he could get through one sector. I don't see it happening. He does have 3PO under a Rebel, so he could get through my Jedi Knight Revan. He does, let me check his roster here. Have his, so he's used up his bounty hunters, he's used up his Empire. He might have First Order, but that was more than likely behind his Revan. He does not have Galactic Republic ready to go. His troopers, without the Zeta, are not there for Night Sisters. All his Jedi, you know, really hard-hitting Jedi were under Revan. He's got Anakin, Juhani, Ezra, but none of those have the jazz, I don't think, to get through either of those walls. He's got that on defense. Phoenix aren't there for any of that. So it's just where can he hit with his rebels, and maybe a row 1 team and a rebel, not a rebel, but a Phoenix team in there. I don't know if that's going to be able to get through anything. Ray Jedi training, I don't think can handle my Night Sisters either. Night Sisters are a pretty solid counter to Ray. And then he doesn't have a Scoundrel team ready to go, although there's a Nest, a Mission, and a Zelbar. No Zelbar? Mission and not Zelbar. There's the Zelbar, non-Zetaed, Gear 11. I don't know if that's going to be able to get through any of that either. Does he have a Treya? Separatist, doesn't have a Grievous ready to go. And then I believe Treya without even a Zeta on it, so that's a non-factor there. There's a Darth Revan in there, non-Zeta, or only a double Zeta, only a Gear 11, so must be a recent unlock, and didn't even leave Bastila Shan to go in with it, so I don't think that's anything there. He's got the HK, but what else is he going to put with it? A Treya and a Nihilus. Yeah, Treya, Nihilus, Savage to try and get through something. It might be possible. So I guess there's a chance that he could get through one zone. There's a chance he could tie or even take the win here. It is possible. I'd be a little shocked. I thought I had the edge on him, but I guess this could be a little closer than I thought, especially with my 2 battles on 2 teams there. $540, and per zone, let's see, it's a 180, 150. Just do some quick math here. So 540. What did I get? 1060 minus the 540. Let's say he clears 2 zones. That's 180 and 150. That would still mean he's got to get 190 through his 1, 2, 3, call it 4 battles that he should be able to possibly clear. That would leave, divided by 4, 47.5 points per battle. I do have a speedier Revan than he does. His Revan wouldn't get that health bump from Bastila being on the team. There's the Malik in there too, so I don't think he'd be able to get through this bottom sector. Even if he threw everything he had at it, it would definitely be a top half victory if he can pull one out. And then taking out the Clone Wars Chewie, which is good at holding out late game if they don't have the really heavy hitters left in their team. So I guess that's where we'll end the video. Thank you all for anyone that made it through this full thing. I gotta give some credit to End All Be All. I've been watching his Grand Arena. I believe I've seen every single one of his videos for his Grand Arenas that he's posted. Provides some excellent information on his thought process through things, and I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to do with mine. Although I will, hands down say that if it's advice you're looking for on Grand Arenas and compositions, go check out his videos. They're fantastic for really getting in depth with the compositions and rosters and inner workings of all the teams. Some of this I've had down myself. I actually also have to give him some credit for the Rex Wampa Talzin team of yore. Days ago, that was the first and only time I've actually climbed to Squad Arena. Rank 1 payout was under that team many moons ago. The team's pretty much dead even in Grand Arena too, just because so many of those hitters are, being pulled from their own teams to compose that one team. But thanks again to all that watched, and I'll catch you in the next one.